Hi guys, and welcome back to Fit with T. I hope you guys are good. So whether you're training for performance or just to keep fit, generally for your health or just to look great, there are key training principles that you have to apply to your training in order to keep seeing results. One of those principles is the principle of progression, and so today I'm going to give you guys 7 ways that you can actually progress your training and keep seeing those fantastic results that you want to see. So the first way that you can progress your training, and it's one of the ways that most people automatically think of when it comes to progression, is to increase your resistance. So whether you're in the gym and it is increasing the resistance with weights, or whether it's using resistance bands and moving from a light resistance to a heavier resistance, or moving from body weight to including dumbbells or including med balls, or even having somebody on your back when you're doing press up, or just utilizing what you have at home, so holding cans of beans or whatever it is as you're doing your exercises, increasing your resistance is one way that you can actually continue to progress your training. Another way that you can progress your training is to increase your number of reps and sets. Okay, so reps are the individual repetitions, reps for short, that you do, and then sets are as you group repetitions together, we call it a set. So every round of repetitions, that is a set. So for example, if you're doing press ups and you did 8 repetitions and then you did 3 sets, so you did 8, then you did 8 again, and then you did 8 again, that's 3 sets of 8. Okay, so by increasing your reps and set, it's another way to overload your body, cause it to have a new stimulus, a new stress, and therefore have to adapt and get stronger in order to keep moving forward, in order to keep developing. If you just maintain the same everything forever, that's when you start to see a plateau. And so progressing your training, overloading your body progressively in a systematic way is how you get the best out of your body and continue to move forward. It's how elite athletes are able to continue to push for that little extra, always finding ways to continue to progress in one of these 7 ways that I'm explaining for you guys today. So we've said resistance, we've said reps and sets. Another way that you can progress your training, and as you're going to notice, all of these I'm going to start with an R so that hopefully you can remember them, is your rest. Playing with your rest, reducing your rest. Let's say you're doing a circuit and previously you gave yourself 30 seconds rest. If you now reduce that rest to 20 seconds, it actually makes it a harder workout for you. You had less recovery time, causing you to work harder than you had before, and that's how your body can actually get stronger, get fitter, and then adapt and continue to move forward and improve in that way. So whether you're doing endurance work or just strength work, but you actually just move from one exercise to the other with less rest, it creates a new stimulus, and it's a way to again progress your training. And that rest is not just within a day, not just within the exercises themselves, but it can also be from one day to the other. So for example, if you normally had 2 days rest in between your workouts, then maybe reducing it to 1 day's rest between your workout, and then eventually maybe you could train back-to-back days. That's how athletes are able to do that. Their fitness progressed to such a way that maybe as a young athlete they only used to train 2 or 3 times a week, where they can then move it up to 4, 5 and 6 times a week, and their rest time has reduced, but then obviously they have to tweak other things to make sure that they do get enough recovery. But tweaking your rest in different ways is another way to progress your training. And number 4, I'm going to say your rate. The rate in which you do exercises. Now, playing with the rate in which you do your exercises changes the stimulus and can help to progress your training as well. So slowing down the movement can make it harder in some instances. Speeding up the movement can make it harder in some instances. So depending on what your goals are, depending on what kind of exercise you're doing at the time, playing with the rate of your movement, the tempo of your movement, can progress your training. So let's say you've been doing runs, increasing the rate at which you're doing it is a way to progress it. Let's say you're doing a squats, for example. If you slow down that eccentric, so slow on the way down, it makes it a harder exercise. You can increase your strength in eccentrically in that way and get gains there. There's different ways to tweak the rate. Playing with the rate is another way to progress your training. The number 5, I'm gonna say range of movement, range of motion. Okay, so increasing the range. So a good example of this might be squats. For example, if you've been doing a quarter squat, a half squat, going to that full deep squat could be a way to progress your training. Let's say you've been doing a low box step up, increasing the range by going to a higher box step up. There's different ways to increase the range of motion, incorporate more muscle fibers, cause your body to have to undergo a bit more stress and therefore adapt to that and get stronger, is another way to progress your training. For number 6, I've got reducing the stability. Okay, so by reducing the stability, so that is maybe going from double leg to single leg, changing the surface on which you're standing, going from the track to the grass sometimes, just to get, the grass is a bit more wobbly, and it causes you to have to you know, have a different stimulus, work a bit more on the stability element, incorporate your core a little bit more, things like that. Going from doing a squat just standing on the floor to maybe sometimes trying it on a Bosu ball or something like that. Just whatever you do, obviously, of course, according to your level of ability, according to your fitness, and of course being safe in whatever you choose to do. But just changing the stability, reducing the stability is another way that you can actually make exercise a little bit more difficult, cause your body to undergo a new stimulus and then progress. And last but not least, I've got reorder your exercise. Okay, so reordering your exercise, doing them in a different order is another way to progress your training. So I use this example a lot because one of the ones that I noticed myself, if you do pull up at the beginning of your session, you're a lot more fresh compared to if you did them at the end, where it feels a lot harder because you're now maybe a bit more fatigued, a bit more tired. So reordering it, putting it, let's say, at the end so that it's harder is one way. Or any exercise, that's just one example of an exercise. But reordering your exercises, so maybe instead of going from upper body to lower body, upper body to lower body, maybe going lower body back to back exercises, which means that you're targeting the same muscle more than one exercise in a row, which makes it harder. So that's 7 ways that you can progress your training, and progression is going to be really important if you want to continue to see results. Of course, if you train with a personal trainer or a coach, they will be progressing your training for you. So just look out when you're training now, and if you do have a coach or trainer, take note of how they actually do that. And if you're training yourself, then these are some of the things that you do want to think about in your training. And another thing that you definitely want to think about is reducing reversibility, and that means not losing your fitness. So if you haven't checked out this video, I encourage you to check it out, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye guys.